All week we've been talking about a word's value, and we've been going through some of the words that Tom chooses not to use and why. Today, we're going to figure out what we learned from that, and I'm going to try not to use any of those words. Let's see how far I get. That's coming.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom, sorry I messed up that intro on you. You were right. I was wrong. Oh, there it is.
That didn't take long, did it?
I did it on purpose.
I saw what you did there. All right, everyone.
What
good morning.
Did I have?
Well,
there's two.
It's going to be that way today, huh?
Indeed.
I think your role is going to be how quickly can you get all five of them out?
I can't remember the others, so I may be at a loss. They may just come in.
So the show may or may not be perfect.
Oh, there you go.
But it could be. There you go. All right, everyone. Good morning and welcome to today's Antidote, our daily broadcast and podcast. As you likely know, we have a conversation around a topic. This week's topic has been a word's value. Kind of the subtopic has really been words that Tom chooses to use less or finds less value in. And so all week we went through a discussion around the words but with one T, B-U-T, right or wrong, perfect, and what was the fifth one? Perfect.
No,
and
4.
No, there was but, right or wrong, perfect, and mistake. That was the other one.
Mistake. There you go.
So those are the 5 words that we had conversations around, and the general conversation around a word's value. So we today are going to do Bob's favorite show, which is we're going to wrap it all up and share our discoveries of the week. So as we share ours, please feel free to share the discoveries that you have. If you happen to be watching us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, or
LinkedIn Live,
please feel free to share it in the comments because we know that others may find value in it as well. And it will have a great impact on our show. If you happen to be listening to the podcast, all you can do, as Bob says, is you can yell in your car, talk to the person on the treadmill next to you, or if you happen to be pull off your earphones or earbuds and share your thoughts with someone else. Your other option is to go inside our Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where you can share your comments, your thoughts, and your discoveries of the week. Each Friday, we put up a post that allows you to share those discoveries, whether it's around our topic of today's antidote or just something else that you've discovered this week that you think would add value to someone else. So before we get into our great topic and share our discoveries, we always do our celebrations. What are you celebrating today, Bob?
Tom, I'm celebrating that tomorrow I get to go play golf. I haven't been able to play golf for about a month and a half, 2 months because of some rolled ankle and some other things going on. And I am real excited to go play golf tomorrow. In fact,
Excellent.
I'm doing a little driving down to Ocean City to play. So it's
Wonderful.
about a 2.5-hour drive.
Hopefully the weather's supposed to be
got a
hot.
co-pilot for the drive down.
Nice.
Going to go up and hang out at the beach. So I got a perfect Saturday lined up, and the weather's going to be low 90s and sunny. Can't wait. So I'm excited to play golf.
What kind of Saturdays are going to be?
Perfect.
Excellent. Good. It's going to be hot, very hot.
I'll take hot over cold any day of the week.
Fair enough.
Any day.
Fair enough.
How about you? What are you celebrating?
So I'm celebrating that, sometimes we get opportunities that we never expect. And sometimes those are the most rewarding. So as I shared last week I got a chance to be on the field as well as on a table at a Division III NCAA first and second round games.
Women's lacrosse.
Women's lacrosse. Yes, thank you. Well, much to my surprise, Sunday night we were out getting ice cream, and my phone, I get a notification on my phone, and I look at it, and it says NCAAW lacrosse. That's odd. I'm a newer official, especially at the level that I'm at, and so it shows up that I was assigned to a table tomorrow morning in the third round of the NCAA tournament. And so I'm
Who's playing?
It'll be Gettysburg and Denison. No, not Denison.
Davidson?
Not Davidson, because they're Division I. It is Gettysburg and, hold on one second.
Not Salisbury.
Not Salisbury. They're playing, but in a different bracket.
Okay.
And Denison.
Denison. Okay. Nice. Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
That is, and you advance in the rounds like the players and teams do, right? Based on your performance in prior rounds, correct?
Some of that.
Or were they looking for comic relief to see if they could find, well, you're going to be on the table. So if you trip at the table, that's going to really be something.
That will not bode well. I think it's a combination of what you've done throughout the year. I also think it's a combination of proximity, especially for the table. You know, at Division III, they look for who's close that could do a good job. And so I was chosen. I'm not going to judge it or try to figure out why. I'll just accept it and move forward and celebrate.
All right. Awesome. So if I could, Tom, I'd like to read from The Renegade Way, this great book that you wrote the foreword to. And I've met the author a couple times. I've seen him in the mirror. The list of critics can be long when you go against the grain to build something for yourself. Those critics will fixate on each time something takes longer or doesn't work as you expected. A contract gets canceled, a marketing campaign doesn't work, or some other mistake. I've specifically put that word there.
Okay.
They easily occupy space in your head, and with them come the demons of doubt and fear that can easily derail your whole operation.
Interesting.
I love the phrase demons of doubt and fear. Like that alliteration. Man, that guy can write. He's got some game.
So if people wanted to get that book, how could they get a copy of it?
They could direct message me and I'll get your contact information. I'll set it up so you can pay for it and I'll send it to you. I'll even sign it if you're really desperate. Just let me give you the little piece of warning though. A signed book is a lot harder to get rid of. I have 2 or 3 friends that have a book of mine. They're like, you know, I've moved twice. Every time I see this book, I want to throw it away. But then I see that you signed it, wrote something really nice in it.
It's a good
True story.
I believe I can understand that. I can understand that.
I keep waiting to go to a used bookstore and see one of the travel books I wrote years ago in there with an inscription from someone, a family or friend.
I wonder what used bookstores do with books like that somebody has written some message in. Do you think they've
I've been to many used bookstores, so they're in there. It's kind of cool. I mean, it's good because you see, you know, to Tom, really excited for your progression in officiating. You know, something like that. You're like, oh, I wonder who Tom is.
Yeah.
Right?
Interesting. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Little backstory to all of it with the book.
There you go. You never know what's going to come up on today's Antidote.
You don't. All right. Well, supposedly we're supposed to share our discoveries of the week. So maybe they knew that was coming. So what are your thoughts today on our week talking about a word's value?
So I think we set the value in 2 different ways. We set the value in terms of how much we allow words to control our thoughts. So if I think something's a mistake, or I think something's not perfect, or I think something is wrong, that doesn't help me move forward. It often makes me stuck, overwhelmed, unable to figure out that next step, all those things. I think the other way we value words is by devaluing them as judgments and making them more about just, you know, choosing words that are less positive or less negative, just evaluative. Have I crystallized what you've been saying for a year and a half? I tried really hard.
A little bit, although you used two of the words that I left out from this week. Do you know which two?
No.
Positive and negative.
Okay.
It's just
But
one
I
of those.
said less positive and negative.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. I think that's. I think it's. And I think because those words are judgments as well. Would be my thought.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
Yeah.
we as human beings are prone to judgment
Of course.
in ourselves and other people, comparing all the time. And I think the words we choose just follow that.
Yes. And it was interesting. I had a game last night, a lacrosse game last night. And one of the officials I was with, it was so fascinating to hear, had some questions about the way they were calling the game throughout, a couple of times throughout. And so afterwards, we were just talking, and they shared that, it's really all about how do we learn from that and move forward. I was like, I think I've heard that somewhere before. And it was helpful, interesting to hear that and to hear someone else see it as a way to move forward and not as a way to get frustrated or overwhelmed or to question themselves, which I think happens a lot. As we start to do some of that, all we start doing is questioning our ability, our skills, what we're trying to accomplish, our life, all of those things. And it is a little bit of judgment and trying to get out of that. So it was just interesting to hear someone else share some of those thoughts. And I think, it was interesting. So I think that
it reinforces, right? What
it
if
reinforces.
someone else came to it independently. Often, to me, when someone says something I've been saying independently, and you're like, "Whoa, hey," that's kind of what I would say.
Yeah, maybe there's some value to it. Maybe that it does make some sense that I might not have thought it did. I think
It's
for me,
empowering, right?
Very much so, and reinforcing, which I think is helpful again because now we've found those people who start to see some things the way that we do, which makes our communication easier. And I think that was one of the things I was thinking about is I've had a good relationship with this person, and I felt like I wasn't quite sure why, and then I started listening to some of the words that they were using and the value they were placing on them. And I started to see how our communication or why maybe our communication was effective, is that we shared some of the same value in the words that we were using. And it allowed
some of the same values, right?
Correct. Yes.
The words just embody what's going on in your mind and heart and body, right?
Yes. Yeah. So that was fascinating to me. And, and I think it was interesting as we went through the week, it was easier and easier for me to clarify and almost not convince myself, but just remind myself of why these words are words that I choose not to use as much. And it was interesting. I think I used the phrase haunt when we were talking about mistakes.
Yep.
And I think that was a real discovery of how words can really haunt us and hold us back. And I think, and I think we talked a little bit about this last week. We asked the question about our actions. Do actions speak louder than words? And I thought that was a good discussion. And this just reinforced to me that words do haunt us. And whether it's what we have said to someone else or what we are saying to ourselves.
Or what someone else says to us.
Or what someone else says to us and how they say
Three
it.
different ways.
And how we value those words. Again, they may not value them the same way we are. And I think that's probably my big discovery of the week is that everyone values words differently. And that's okay. I place no judgment on it. If someone chooses that the word perfect is perfect for them, that's what's real for them, and that's okay. I now have to put that into my basket of all of the things that make them up, what's real for them, so that I can have better communication with them. And I think that's ultimately what it comes down to, is that when we understand the words and the value people put on them, that our communication can be more effective. And so I think that that's my discovery of the week, which is, I think, a reinforcement of what I have shared. I think, talking about it all week continued to remind me that there is value, and that the words we choose can have an impact on the communication, the connection that we have with others.
Not only do we value words differently from person to person, but our definition of those words varies from person to person.
Sure.
Wrong and right for me vary in situations. Perfect can vary in the situation. There can be perfect with limitations imposed by whatever, and it should be absolutely perfect. So, and I think that's the key when you're working as a team, and your situation with the official, that's a team environment. You're working together. And I think as we work together, whether it's with a spouse or significant other, or with our children, or with our teams at work, or with customers or vendors, we've got to find that commonality of values and the language around that, so that you can share in something and build something together. If you're going your way, Tom, if you were like, well, perfect, I don't use the word perfect, I'm not going to explain to you why, and we never had this discussion, what are the odds that you and I would align? And in that discussion, when I was open to it, when I was open to it, I think there's an opportunity to learn more, not just about what your view of the word is, but your values. And I think that's the opportunity here.
Sure. And I think that the conversation that I had with that official, or that we have with, someone that we supervise, a teammate,
anyone.
Right. It allows us to understand some of the things that we can share with them. I think about this conversation, and I think about, okay, well, there were some conversations we had before the game. So it's interesting. This official does mostly college, just a little bit of high school. And there are some subtle nuances in the rules. And even though they're overall more highly rated in the officiating system than I am, I do more high school. And so I was a little uncomfortable at the start of the game, because I was really sharing some of these things. And even in the middle of the game, just some reminders of some of the nuances in the calls and the way that calls could be made, that I felt a little uncertain about. Again, given that relationship, and hearing that conversation at the end of the game, after the game, made me feel that it was okay, that there was nothing, that they took what I was sharing as a way to learn so that they can improve, not as a judgment that I was placing on them, which could have had an impact in the way that the game went and the relationship that we would have had going forward. If they had taken that as, well, I know the rules and I know what I'm doing, why is he saying this to me? Our relationship would have changed after that. That there would be like, okay, well, if this is the way he is with me, how would he be with someone else? And and they happen to assign a lot of games. And so I think it is a way for us to better communicate and to grow relationships, is to better understand the value that people place on words and how it impacts them.
I think that's a great place to draw the line on this one, Tom. I don't think there's any more to say. I think that's a great bookending of this. And folks, next week, we're going to learn about the trigger words for me. Words that when I hear them, I usually have to intervene with someone. So different take on words. I don't try to avoid them, but when I hear them, I try to jump in and talk to people about how those words land for me, and if that's how they meant for them to land for them. So That's coming up next week as we continue what's basically become a month of word choices.
I like it. I like
Yes.
it. I think it's helpful.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being with us today. If you have a discovery that you'd like to share from the week, please feel free to put it in the comments. Or as we mentioned earlier, you can join us in our Ring of Renegades Facebook group and share it there, where you can help others gain the value they need to take their next step along their own unique pathway to success. So we look forward to seeing you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we will see you next week. Sounds like we are going to be back at 7 a.m. again for next week. So we look forward to seeing you for our earlier edition of today's Antidote. So go out and have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Oh, I forgot my line. I was just thinking about 7 a.m. all week. Hey, embrace the renegade in you.
Absolutely. And have a great weekend.
Yes, yes. Enjoy the warm weather if you're on the East Coast.
And if you choose to define it as a perfect weekend, that's what's real for you. You may just want to consider
Fingers crossed
what we discussed on Thursday and then make a decision on whether or not it truly is that way. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.